You know that feeling when you scroll through a sea of Pilates reformers, each one promising a studio-level workout in your living room, only to get one that feels like a wobbly bench or takes forever to assemble? I've been there spending a weekend trying to figure out which machine will actually move with me instead of against me, and then wondering if I just threw my money at a piece of decor. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video, I'm breaking down the Balanced Body Allegro 2 with the 14-inch leg kit so you can decide whether it's the right fit for your space, your routine, and your budget before you click Add to Cart. First off, the Allegro 2 is marketed as a premium home reformer, and the branding certainly feels that way. The frame is made from a solid aluminum alloy that looks sleek, and the carriage glides on a pair of rollers instead of traditional wheels. That design choice isn't just aesthetic. It means the carriage tends to stay quieter when you do the footwork drills that can otherwise sound like a mini train. In my own setup, I placed the machine in a spare bedroom with a yoga mat rolled out in front, and the noise level stayed low enough that I could run a podcast while moving through a full 30-minute session. For anyone who lives in an apartment or shares a space, that quiet glide is a genuine plus. Now, let's talk about the actual assembly because that's where many buyers hit a snag. The Allegro 2 arrives in 3 large boxes, and the instructions assume you have a basic tool kit and a little patience. The legs fold out and lock into place with a quick-release lever, which is clever, but you do need to double-check that each lever clicks fully before you start loading weight. The carriage itself has 2 main rails that slide into the base, and you have to align the pins just right. I'd say the whole process takes about an hour for a first-time builder, which is longer than a typical dumbbell set but comparable to other high-end reformers. If you're hoping for a plug-and-play experience, you might want to set aside a Saturday for the build. Once it's up and running, the day-to-day usability is where the Allegro 2 starts to separate itself from cheaper models. The foot bar, which you can adjust from a low position up to a full stretch, feels solid and doesn't sag even after I added the extra 14-inch leg kit for deeper lunges. That leg kit extends the range of motion for exercises like leg circles and single leg stretch, and in practice it turns a standard reformer into something that can accommodate taller users or those who want a more intense stretch. I tried it with a friend who's 6'2". The extended leg kit let her comfortably perform the short spine massage without having to hunch over, something she couldn't do on my old basic reformer. The carriage's resistance comes from a set of springs that you can swap out to change tension. Balanced Body includes a medium resistance set out of the box, and the system lets you add lighter or heavier springs as you progress. In my routine, I start a session with the light springs for warm-up mobility work, then slide in the medium springs for the core strength segment. The transition is quick, just a few seconds to pop the springs out of their slots so you don't lose momentum. For beginners, the ability to start light and scale up without buying a new machine is a real cost saver. However, there are a few trade-offs that show up once you live with the machine for a month. First, the footprint is larger than many foldaway reformers. Even with the legs tucked in, the base measures roughly 6 feet by 2 feet, which means you need a dedicated space or a room where you can leave it out permanently. If you're looking for a reformer you can store in a closet after each workout, the Allegro 2 might not meet that need. Second, the spring system, while versatile, does require you to purchase extra springs if you want to push into the very high resistance territory that athletes sometimes train in. The extra springs aren't included, so you'll be adding a small cost later on. Who should consider buying the Allegro 2? If you're a regular Pilates practitioner, whether you've taken a few classes or you've been rolling out the carriage for years and you want a machine that can grow with you, this is a solid choice. It's especially worth it for people who value a quiet, smooth glide and who need the extra range that the 14-inch leg kit provides. The machine also appeals to small studio owners who want a professional-grade reformer without the price tag of a commercial unit. The build quality feels studio level, and the adjustable springs let you cater to a range of client abilities. Who might skip it? If you're a casual exerciser who only wants to dabble in Pilates a few times a week, you may find the upfront cost and the space requirement a stretch. The